Hello guys, a couple of weeks back I did another battery pack, was a Kuhn fertilizer spreader, and I said I would get round to upgrading this Claas mower. So today I'm going to try and do that. So I need to figure out what way the wiring is and add these two batteries to give me a 1300 milliamp hour battery pack. So in case you didn't see that video, this little circuit here is a 555 timer chip, and when you flick the switch here it connects the 555 timer to the battery pack, and it starts to flash these two LEDs as kind of warning beacons. So that's all this little circuit does, and that's just a little feature that I thought was a nice little addition to the battery pack. So other than that, it's a fairly normal, it's a fairly standard model. All it does is have these batteries in it. The idea is that you have your battery pack on the front of your model, which frees up the rear of the tractor for whatever you want to do, pull a trailer or something, I don't know. And the weight of this and the batteries hanging off the front of the tractor should weigh your front wheels down onto the ground, and the extra weight should help your steering, improve it a little bit by keeping the tyres firmly on the ground. So what I need to do today is cut the connections off these two batteries. I'll put DuPont connections on instead. Mount the battery like that. Have a DuPont connector, or have some wire going to the board over here with a DuPont connector on the end, so I can plug that in and unplug it when I want to charge the batteries. As well as that, I'm going to try and make a proper cover for this, because at the minute there's nothing really to hold the batteries in. So what I think I'll do is try and 3D print some sort of cover that I can just screw on here some way and fix the batteries solidly in place. Okay, well, our two batteries are going to go in something like that. So to hold them in place, I just printed up this little kind of battery holder thing to hold the batteries in place like this. So now I just need to drill a few holes in the side of this and screw them in. I have lots of these tiny little screws, so what I'm going to do is use a drill bit small enough that I can screw this screw into the plastic, and I'm going to drill the first hole with that, and then I'll use a bigger drill bit on the outside plastic so that I'm not screwing into the outside plastic. I'll just be screwing into the printed piece that I have here. I'm not going to do this in front of the camera because it's a little bit tricky working around the camera, and I don't really want to screw this up. So what I'm going to do is hold this in the correct position with the battery there, drill the first hole through, remove the battery, I'll drill the larger hole on the outside and screw the first corner in place. Then I'll drill the other three holes, drill the larger hole then in the plastic, and I'll be able to screw the other three in place. So that's how I'm going to do this. Well, this first attempt didn't work too well, because when I had it in there and I tried to drill it, it just kind of bent like this, so that didn't work great. So what I had to do was come up with this different type of solution here. I added this little bar so that when you try to drill into it, you can see it doesn't bend quite as much. It's a bit better. This side isn't as good. This side's a bit stronger, but I had to put the bar this way because the battery wouldn't fit in between the two half circles if I had them both facing inwards. But it seems to have worked okay in this way. So there's the little screws holding it in, pretty small, and our battery in there. It might be a bit difficult to get the battery charged from this, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do about that. Well, this little piece that I made works okay, but it covers the battery quite a bit, and it would be hard to disconnect the battery to charge it if I go ahead with this. So what I think I'll do is get rid of these two guys out of this completely and make a cover that will hold the battery a little bit further up here. Then I can put the connection down here where I can reach it, and it'll make things a little bit easier. I've been thinking a little bit more about how I'm going to wire this up, and I actually don't think I need the connector here. I'm pretty sure I could just charge these two batteries in parallel, because the voltage should be the same across the two once they're connected in parallel. there would just be a difference in the current flowing to each battery depending on if one of them is slightly more discharged than the other, but I think it should be pretty even. So originally when I done this, I had this connector here to connect to the battery on this side. I was going to add one to the other side, but I never got around to it. But I don't need that anymore, so I'm just going to disconnect that. I'm not sure why I put these connectors here, but I'll get rid of those because they're a little bit too bulky. This was to disconnect the batteries for some reason. I can't remember why I wanted to do that, but I'll get rid of that too. Don't need that anymore. And after that, it should be just a matter of wiring in the two batteries. Here's our two batteries in place now. The 3D printed holders screwed in there. They've cracked in a few places because I drilled the hole in through the different layers, and when I screwed in the screw, obviously pushed the layers apart and cracked it. So that's kind of a issue you have with 3D printed parts, so not much you can really do about that, I don't think. You can see I brought all the wires up through here and into the centre where they'll meet, and I'll solder them now to this little PCB, so that'll be in there like that. And that should be this battery pack finished, I think. Well, there's the wiring finished. See all the wires coming in and the heat shrink combining here, and then just going to our PCB. I've put the two batteries in parallel, and I've connected those wires for the LEDs back on there. I just soldered them directly. That PCB is just sitting in there at the minute. I might need to get something to hold it down. I might just put a bit of thick copper wire around these two terminals just to hold that in, which should be okay because when you close it over, it's not going to fall out anyway. So when we have it, we can turn it on, and then we'll have our flashing beacons just on the front of our mower. That's all the switch does. It doesn't disconnect the power, so you can have it without the LEDs flashing and just connect it to the model to give you the is it 1300 milliamp hours that we have here. So that should last a long time with the Massey. The last thing I think I'll do is just put a little spring down here somewhere to hold the two mowers on the bottom here together, because I remember previously when I had this model, you'd be cornering and one of these could fly out and get caught and stuff, so I'm going to just permanently hold them together. Well, not permanently, but I'll put a spring to hold them when you want it held. Well, I had initially planned to put a spring from here to here, but the tension wasn't strong enough to hold the two sides of the mower together, so I've had to go with two crossed springs, I guess. But it seems to work okay now. We've got our lights working, we have plenty of power for our tractor, so it's pretty ideal. So if you like that more, make sure and hit the like button, and any comments or any questions you can always head to the forum or post them below the video if you want. I think this is the last of my kind of battery packs that I have to build, so unless I find a need for something else to hold large batteries in, it'll be a while before I'm building anything like this again. But with any luck, these videos can inspire you to come up with your own battery packs. That's everything for this battery pack, so thanks very much for watching.